Hi, hello, my name is Juno, your local Mothman, and welcome to my aesthetic deep dive series in which I analyze and explain internet aesthetics while making art inspired by them. And today's subject is Kidcore, a seemingly innocent, neon-colored nostalgia for the early childhood in the 19s and 2000s that created a bunch of cool fashion and design trends. But is there anything more to it? Let's find out. Before we start to dive into the deep waters of this aesthetic, we first need to have a good understanding of what Kidcore even is. So, Kidcore as defined by the Aesthetics Wiki is an aesthetic that centers around bright colors, nostalgia for icons from the 90s, and kid themes. And bright and colorful it is. This aesthetic is fun, it's so exciting and vibrant. It has an established color palette of neons and fully saturated primary colors. It's playful and sweet. It shows us a version of reality we see when looking back at our childhood memories. After all, the basis of the aesthetic lies in the cognitive bias known as rosy retrospection that causes people to remember past experiences as more positive than they actually were. And besides that, Kidcore doesn't tackle darker themes of childhood like other aesthetics such as traumacore or dreamcore tend to do, focusing instead on the widely shared nostalgia for popular toy franchises, video games, and kids' TV shows. And those themes of childlike wonder and playfulness are fully present in the fashion trends that erupted in the 2020s. When browsing through Pinterest boards created for the purpose of fashion inspo, you will see overalls, crew necks, bucket hats, mixed with candy-esque jewelry. It seems that Kidcore fashion takes 80s silhouettes and mixes them with watered-down decor style. There are a couple of separate themes in Kidcore style. Number one being more quirky, similar to clowncore. It's on the more adventurous side of fashion, with bright and distinctive statement pieces as well as unconventional accessories. The next one is more toned down. It replicates and updates fashion trends from the 90s and mixes them with clothing you could probably find in the kids section. Another big thing in the Kidcore community seems to be crochet, with brands such as Fluffy blowing up in the last couple of years. Another identifiable trait is the candy-like jewelry. It's called charm jewelry, and its popularity has been on a steady rise for quite some time. In an Island article, Piper Cashman and Amanda Adam of Zigzag Goods talk about their experiences and thoughts on Kidcore. The art of Kidcore is contagious. Piper and I created this world where it's okay to have paint smeared on your legs and clothes, where every fingernail is painted with different polish, where outfits aren't complete until every color of the rainbow makes an appearance. I recommend you read the Nylon article after watching this video. I think it's very nicely done, and there's a lot of interviews with people that make the Kidcore fashion what it is, and I think it has quite a lot of interesting insight. It was pretty funny finding this article after I already written the synopsis of the script and finding how many similar points I had to the writer of this article, and how many other references I made that they also made in this article. So I guess great minds think alike. I genuinely recommend it. Once again, it's in the description. If you would like to read it, please do read it. It's great. Now that we took a look at the fashion, let's dive a little bit deeper and talk about the inspirations behind the aesthetic. As we already established, Kidcore centers around, well, kid stuff. And when thinking about kid stuff, we of course have to talk about toys. The field of toy making is a multi-billion-dollar business, with giants such as Mattel and Hasbro bringing in insane profits each year. The market, made of middle-class children, is always hungry and ready for more plastic and colorful playthings, so the toy companies certainly can't complain about lack of clients. However, in such an oversaturated market, how do you convince parents to buy your products? How do we sell, let's say, a teddy bear? There are millions of teddy bears on the market. Well, what if we give the teddy bear a special trait? Then make many different teddy bears with different traits, so that we can sell more toys. Sign a contract with a broadcaster for an animated series that gives the toys lovable personalities, and just like that, it's not just a teddy bear, it's a special teddy bear. It has a name. With the widespread success of animated media surrounding cute characters, brands such as My Little Pony, Hello Kitty, Care Bears, and The Little Pet Shop established themselves as cultural icons for many kids. Children wear apparel with them, eat from lunchboxes with their faces on them, and play with toys that look like them. Those characters, over time, become almost like childhood friends. And the fondness for the characters stays with us as we grow up. There are a couple artists I will name as important figures in the Kidcore aesthetic. When it comes to visual art, the two people that come to mind are Murakami Takashi and Lisa Frank. Murakami is a Japanese artist whose work is widely popular among critics, collectors, but also average consumers. He blends high art with commercial art with great ease, and his flowers are a staple in the Kidcore aesthetic. Lisa Frank, on the other hand, outside of being allegedly a thief and a terrible employer, is known for her neon rainbows, unicorns, and cute animal designs that capture the hearts of many kids across the states and beyond. Kidcore music doesn't seem to have that much of a unique sound or artists like other aesthetics tend to do, or at least not as many. From what I've seen when I was listening to a bunch of different playlists for this video, artists such as Kero Kero Bonito, Lemon Demon, Jack Starber, and Aqua seem to pop up quite a lot. Overall, the sounds of less experimental hyperpop, dance pop, from the 90s especially, and video game soundtracks, especially from games such as Animal Crossing, Sims, Me, games like that seem to be the sound of Kidcore. Now, we've covered the aesthetics, background in art and fashion, but one question that I had in my mind when I was making this video was, why now? All the kid brands I mentioned before are mostly past their prime and don't have as much of an impact as they had before. And while other aesthetics seem to have their rise in popularity in the 2010s with Tumblr and early Instagram, Kidcore only reached the mainstream in 2020. One of the things I think pushed Kidcore into the spotlight is, of course, K-pop, ever the trendsetter, with BTS's J-Hope being at the core. Hobbycore, to be exact. With the release of his mixtape Hope World and the 2018/19 Love Yourself tour, Jung Ho-seok inspired fans with his fashion sense and love for Murakami's work. The fan-made edits, cool outfits inspired by Hobie's wardrobe and art were actually my first exposure to an aesthetic that Kidcore is pretty similar to. But music stars and influences aside, I think the main reason why Kidcore specifically, out of all the trends, had such a grip during the pandemic was because of the escapism it offers. The more I think about Kidcore, the more I see it as a form of rebellion, or at least an attempt to make our world more livable. The bright colors of the outfits and edits crush harshly with the lifeless outside world. In a place where everything seems grey, flashes of warm colors are a rare beauty. After the Second World War came the wave of minimalism, architecture devoid of color, basic simplified designs, and cool, toned-down attire. The design trends over time started to focus more and more on simplicity, and looking modern became a must. Turning to brightly colored clothing, wacky accessories, and fun hairstyles seemed to be a clear pushback against the monotony of our modern lives. But visual rebellion aside, it's the mindset behind Kidcore that I think is even more of an open defiance against the status quo. Young adulthood nowadays has way more challenges and hardships in store compared to a couple of decades ago. It makes sense. Most young people have to figure out a way to juggle getting an education with working entry-level shitty jobs. And even after getting a degree, a well-paying job isn't promised. The anxiety surrounding the future altogether can be pretty overwhelming. For millennials and Gen Zs, the reality we were born into is rather grim. With terrorist attacks, the Great Recession affecting most households, wars and conflicts erupting suddenly, and climate change. Our childhood and teenage years weren't ones of security and safety. It's not a surprise, then, that young people are fed up and upset with strict rules, and the unkind environments and institutions that don't protect them or even actively harm them. A bleak life that focuses on work, that in the current economy can't even cover basic human needs, isn't desirable for anyone, especially young, inexperienced people who don't even know who they are yet. Wearing things that can be considered as childish and quirky by the older generations is, in my opinion, a clear fuck you towards the elders that claim that youngsters these days are too soft and are scared to grow up. The amount of articles, Facebook rants, and other forms of opinion pieces that I came across that outright claim that Zoomers and Millennials seemingly actively choose to have mental health problems is outrageous. A common statement I found is, "Oh, everyone has depression and anxiety nowadays," seemingly insinuating that, say, disorders aren't real or that people claiming to have them are simulating. The thing is that they are somewhat correct about the number of people affected by mental illness. There is a rise of depression and anxiety among children and adolescents. According to CDC, children with diagnosed anxiety and depression increased from 5.4% in 2003 to 8.4% in 2012. And the statistics are pre-COVID. According to WHO, suicide is the fourth leading cause of death among people between the ages of 15 and 24, with globally 13% of the 10 to 19-year-olds experiencing mental disorders. I don't think we can yet see the full results of the isolation of quarantine and what that has done to young people just yet, but I imagine that 2 years of being indoors did not help anyone. Upsetting results of studies already show that millennials and Gen Zs are the loneliest generations yet, with some specialists calling this phenomena a loneliness epidemic. So, if the outside world is unkind, and you're stuck in your room, lonely, anxious and depressed, what do? Where do you turn to? What options are available to all? Sadly, therapy, counseling, or even a kind and understanding adult aren't available to a lot of young people. Escapism offers an easy and less harmful way out. The mental ease found in rewatching kids' shows and letting yourself relax and color outside of the lines is temporary, yes, but it's something. Of course, Kidcore isn't a godsend. It's not without its flaws. The aesthetic itself is rooted deeply in consumerism. Kidcore focuses heavily on products, after all. But maybe that's because ultimately our childhoods were completely different from one another. Our experiences differ depending on our environments. For one person, childhood is associated with rivers and trees. For others, the colorful daycare centers and playgrounds. And for some, childhood memories are submerged in loneliness and pain. At the end of the day, colorful pencils, toys, stickers, and TV series unite us and offer a brightly colored memory of simpler times. When it comes to my personal thoughts about Kidcore, I really admire the aesthetic, because it's something I don't think I could ever wear such bright colors. I simply don't have the guts nor like the bravery to do so. I think that it's so attention catching and loud and out there. I could never. I'm scared. I'm running from the law. Okay? I need to hide my identity. I have fucking Mothman after all, okay? But I definitely relate to the feelings that are behind the aesthetic with that love for child media and kid themes and all of that. It's something that I personally find really interesting, and I also have a lot of fondness for some of these things, like My Little Pet Shops, which I had an entire box of before my mom, without asking me, got rid of one day. I've never forgiven her that, and I don't think I ever will, because those were my babies and now they're gone forever. I also love the music. I was listening to these playlists and I was just jamming out the entire time. Congrats, you've reached the end of the video! Thank you so much for watching. This is the first video in this series of me exploring aesthetics a little bit deeper and making art of them. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you did, please comment down below. If you didn't, also please comment down below. I do need constructive criticism and stuff like that. And if you want to yell at me for some reason, you have my Tumblr is linked down in the description down below. My ask box is always open. I also have a Patreon now. You can join it for $1.50 and you get most of the perks. There's also other tiers. If you're interested in that, please do check it out if you can. I really appreciate all of the support I've gotten so far from you guys. The next installment of a series is going to be about weirdcore, and I can't wait because weirdcore is like my favorite aesthetic ever, and I'm really excited about it. But if you guys have other aesthetics you would like me to look into, please do let me know, either on Tumblr or here in the comments. I would love to see what you guys think would be an interesting YouTube video idea. And yeah, I guess that's it. See you next week. Bye-bye.